You are standing at the checkout. Around you is the familiar hum of the supermarket, the rustling of plastic bags, and quiet chatter. The cashier grabs an item with a practiced motion. Beep, 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 beep. A thin red laser sweeps across the black and white sticker on a milk carton. To us, this sound has become the background noise of civilization. We look at those black lines of varying thickness and assume
that they contain the price, the brand name, or the country of origin.
but our eyes are playing a trick on us. We have been looking at the wrong thing our entire lives. The laser does not read the black bars at all. It ignores them. The physics of this process is far more elegant than it seems at first glance. The scanner works by analyzing reflected light, but black ink absorbs light waves. The laser beam hits a dark area and disappears there, like in a miniature black hole. It simply does not return. But the white spaces act as perfect mirrors. They bounce the light back, straight into the device's photosensor. It is a striking paradox. The laser reads the emptiness. Information is born where there is nothing, in the clean, bright spaces between the dark barriers. Inside the scanner is a silicon photodiode. When reflected white light hits it, it generates a tiny electrical pulse. A white space causes a voltage spike. A black bar means silence, dropping the voltage to 0. The computer does not see this pulse as an image, but as a wave of current. High voltage, low voltage. 1, 0. In a fraction of a second, the physical world is translated into the language of binary code. The width of these spaces is calibrated to the micron. The slightest printing defect and the magic breaks. The scanner throws an error. But if everything is printed perfectly, the void turns into data the machine can understand. We are used to valuing tangible things, hard boundaries. We feel that the meaning must be in what is bold and visible. But the barcode proves the opposite. Sometimes it is the empty space that holds all the essence. Today, this system feels mundane, almost primitive. It is on a box of matches, a bag of chips, on medicine. But half a century ago, getting a computer to instantly recognize a physical object seemed like pure science fiction. How did anyone even come up with the idea that products needed to be marked with a series of stripes? The story of this idea did not begin in a quiet engineering office or in a secret corporate laboratory. It was born on a hot beach in Miami, where a young guy sat by the water's edge, tracing his fingers through the sand, trying to stretch a language originally created for the blind. In 1948, in Philadelphia, within the walls of the Drexel Institute of Technology, two graduate students met, Bernard Silver and Norman Joseph Woodland. They happened to overhear a conversation in the hallway. A local grocery chain owner was begging the dean to design a system that could automatically read product information at the checkout. The dean politely declined, saying it was sci-fi and the university lacked the resources. But the young scientists were intrigued by the idea. Woodland became obsessed with the task. He even quit his teaching job and moved to Florida to dedicate himself entirely to finding a solution. In the winter of 1949, he sat on a beach in Miami, letting sand slide through his fingers. His thoughts kept circling back to Morse code. Dots and dashes. A brilliant invention, but how do you make a machine read it on the fly? Woodland lowered his hand to the wet sand and dragged his fingers down. 4 deep furrows remained in the beach. He looked at them, and something clicked in his mind. What if he just stretched the dots and dashes vertically? The dots would become thin lines, and the dashes would become wide bars. If you shone a light on them, they could be read. It was a true eureka moment. On October 20th, 1949, Woodland and Silver filed a patent under the plain title, Apparatus and Method for Classifying. But their first working model looked nothing like what we are used to. It was circular. They called this design the bullseye because of its resemblance to a target. The concept seemed flawless. Circular shape allowed the code to be scanned from any angle. The cashier did not have to spin a can or box in front of the sensor, just swipe it anyway. and the laser would cross the circles along the radius and read the data. In 1952, the patent was granted, but no revolution followed. Woodland and Silver's idea was about a quarter of a century ahead of its time. The problem lay in technology. For the system to work, it needed two things: an incredibly powerful, focused light source and a computer capable of processing signals instantly. In the early 50s, lasers did not exist, and the first computers occupied entire rooms and cost a fortune. But even that did not kill the circular barcode. The main enemy of the invention turned out to be ordinary printing ink. Printing presses of that era operated under high pressure. When the liquid ink hit the packaging paper, it bled slightly under the force of the press. On a rectangular code, this was unnoticeable. The lines just became a tiny bit thicker. But on a circle, the ink smudged unevenly, turning sharp, concentric rings into messy blobs. Scanners simply lost their minds. The barcode creators sold their patent to Philco for a modest $15,000. Silver never lived to see the triumph of his creation, dying in a car accident. It seemed the idea would forever remain a beautiful curiosity in the patent archives. But in the early 70s, American retail was on the verge of collapse due to endless lines. Large chains realized they either automate the registers or the system collapses. A fierce survival race began, where the interests of the largest tech giants collided. And in this struggle, a humble IBM engineer dared to tell his bosses that the circular shape everyone was praying to was a fatal mistake. That engineer's name was George Lauer. In the early 70s, he worked at IBM, which desperately wanted to win the contract, to create a unified national labeling standard. A committee of representatives from the largest U.S. retail chains openly declared, "We want Woodland's circular code." It seemed logical and elegant. But Lauer, a practical man to his core, knew that theory is only beautiful on paper. Instead of a perfect circle, Lauer designed a simple, even boring rectangle with vertical lines. His colleagues doubted him, management pressured him, but the engineer stood his ground. He proved that a rectangular code forgives printing presses almost any errors, even if the ink bleeds a bit,
or the packaging cardboard gets slightly skewed on the conveyor belt. The horizontal distance between the vertical lines
remains unchanged. The laser will still read it. It was a victory of pragmatism over aesthetics. In 1973, the committee gave in and approved Lauer's rectangular design as the unified standard, the UPC, Universal Product Code. Now, let us travel to June 26, 1974. Early morning, 8:01 a.m., in the small town of Troy, Ohio. Marsh's supermarket. Cashier Sharon Buchanan opens her lane. The first customer is a Research Institute employee named Clyde Dawson. He places an ordinary 10-pack of Wrigley's Juicy Fruit chewing gum on the belt. Dawson picked the gum completely at random. He simply pulled it out of his basket first. Sharon takes the pack, swiping it over the scanner's glass. A soft beep rings out. The price pops up on the cash register screen. 67 cents. In that moment, the world changed forever. The era of automated inventory had arrived. Manual price entry, late-night inventory counts lasting hours, and endless checkout lines began to fade into the past. And that very pack of chewing gum was never chewed. It instantly became a historical artifact. Today, this humble pack of Juicy Fruit is kept in the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History in Washington as a symbol of the dawn of the digital revolution in daily life. But this triumph of technology would not have been possible without the incredible internal architecture Lauer built into the barcode. On the outside, we see only a chaotic fence of stripes of different thicknesses. But a living mathematical heart beats inside every code. Behind every beep of the scanner is a highly complex security system protecting the register from errors. And at the center of this system
are 3 hidden sentinels watching over every digit on your item. If you pick up any product and look at its barcode, you will notice a strange detail. 3 pairs of lines are always longer than the rest. They are located at the very beginning, right in the middle, and at the end of the code. They are called guard bars.
These lines are not part of the encoded number. They have a different job. They serve as reference points for the laser. As the beam sweeps across the packaging, it must instantly orient itself in space. The guard bars tell the scanner, "Attention, the code starts here. Here is its middle, and here it ends." Thanks to them, a cashier can turn the product any way they like, scanning it upside down or diagonally. The device will still understand exactly where to read from. Behind these borders lie the 13 digits of the European EAN13 standard. The first 3 digits are the country code, but here lies a popular misconception. Many people assume this is the physical location where the product was made. In reality, it is merely the prefix of the national organization where the company registered. A German brand can buy coffee in Vietnam, roasted in Poland, but the barcode will still show Germany's digits. Next come the manufacturer's code and the characteristics of the product itself. Weight, color, name. But the most interesting part happens at the very end. The last, 13th digit is the lock of the entire system, the check digit. Every time that familiar beep sounds, the scanner's processor instantly performs a rapid arithmetic check. The algorithm goes like this. First, the computer adds up all the digits in the even positions of the barcode. It multiplies the resulting sum by 3. Then, it adds the digits from the odd positions, except the check digit itself. It combines both results. It takes the last digit of the resulting number and subtracts it from 10. This final value must match the 13th digit on the packaging. This entire operation takes the device a fraction of a millisecond. If even a single stripe gets smudged during printing, or if the cashier accidentally blocks the code with a finger, the math will not add up. The scanner will stay silent or throw an error. No accidental overcharges, no mixed-up items. This mathematical armor made the barcode the absolute master of global commerce. But human imagination knows no bounds. Seeing how easily the laser handled packs of gum, engineers decided to push further. They tried to label the entire surrounding world. They applied codes to rumbling trains flying through snowstorms, to the ears of living cattle, and even to the dog tags of soldiers heading into the heat of war. And some of these experiments ended in disaster. The first major test of the barcode outside of cozy supermarkets was the American Railroad of the 1960s. To track the movement of thousands of cargo cars across the country, an ambitious system called CarTrack was built. Large plates with bright red, blue, and white retro-reflective stripes were mounted on the sides of trains. Massive scanner shacks with powerful xenon lamps were installed next to the tracks. The idea seemed flawless. A train barrels past the sensor at high speed. The system reads the colored stripes and instantly knows what cargo is inside. But harsh reality quickly put physics in its place.
Road dirt, locomotive soot, rust, and clinging wet snow covered the plates in a thick crust.
The scanners went blind. By the late 70s, the expensive system had to be shut down. Common winter slush proved stronger than cutting-edge optical technology. But this failure did not stop the expansion. In the 70s, barcodes moved to farms.
Yellow plastic tags with black and white stripes were clipped to the ears of cows and bulls. This automated
weight tracking and feed portions. The livestock effectively became nodes in a giant local network. And in the 80s, the US Department of Defense decided that barcodes should go to war. They adopted the Code 39 standard. They printed it on ammunition boxes, medical files of the wounded, and the metal dog tags of soldiers. The result exceeded all expectations. Statistics showed that when supply clerks entered weapons serial numbers manually,
they made one mistake for every 300 entries. The laser scanner reduced this margin of error to 1 in 3 million scans. In war, such precision literally saved lives. Today, barcodes have entangled the entire planet.
We have labeled inanimate objects, animals, weapons, and humans. We have forced the entire physical world into a colossal, infinite registry of data. But behind this technological triumph lies an uncomfortable ethical question. Have we ourselves become just another numbered item in this global logistics system? We are used to defining ourselves by social status, job, car brand, through bright, highly visible markers that we put on display, like the black stripes on a package. But remember the physics of the checkout scanner. The laser ignores the black. It reads only the white light in the spaces. Meaning is born in the empty spaces. Perhaps our real life is also written not by loud accomplishments, but by the pauses between them. Those quiet moments when we are left alone with ourselves in an empty room. That is where, in the spaces invisible to the outside world, our true human